series for White Blitz. Today we are going to be talking about SEO secrets, how you can gain customers while you sleep. And today we have a very special treat because we have Daniel E. LaFaso, who is the president of the Digital Elevator, with us here today to give us insights that he's learned over the past few years on how to make your business rock. So, a little bit about Daniel. Daniel E. LaFaso specializes in hands-on SEO, inbound marketing, professional copywriting, and SEO consulting for local, national, and overseas clients. Before launching Digital Elevator, LaFaso was the lead internet marketer for a national marketing firm that worked closely with the Academy of Comprehensive Aesthetics and many of its members. Previous to working with the Dental Association, LaFaso helped start GavelTech, a dynamic company that has worked within the legal niche and provided web and SEO services to clients across the country. Currently, LaFaso utilizes his skills to help small to medium-sized businesses enhance their online presence, and also has experience working with international companies such as Wider Image, a Technology Association of Georgia's top 40 most innovative companies, DentalPost.net, the largest dental-specific job board of its kind, and Big Al's Family Fitness, a boutique health and fitness chain in Long Island, New York. And today, another special treat. If you stay and watch this webinar, you are able to get a free website consultation from Daniel. Daniel, tell them a little bit about what you'll do for them in the consultation.
Okay, I can help them dissect their website and maybe look for some opportunities for them to grow and implement some of this SEO stuff we're talking about, and maybe even convert more leads if they're already generating traffic. So kind of a one-on-one, establish goals, and try to customize the plan.
Yep, very good. Thank you very much, Daniel. So you definitely want to make sure that you stay and listen to the webinar and contact Daniel for your free consultation. So without further ado, I'm going to hand over the reins to you, Daniel, to go ahead and get started.
All right. Thanks, Amanda. All right. So as she said, we are going to be talking about SEO and inbound marketing, specifically for the spa and salon market. And as you can see here, we have a screenshot of a generic search for Spa Atlanta, and the first blue arrow is the first search, and then the second blue arrow is a map listing search. So everything that we're going to look at is for organic results like this, and by organic, I mean non-paid. So if you have any questions, please just write them down. We'll address them at the end of the seminar. And just so you know, the entire presentation will be available for download. It will be online, and it will be on the White Blitz website. So you don't have to scramble to write any of this stuff down. It'll be available for you after the presentation. So with that said, we can just dive right in and get started. So what we're going to talk about today are 5 things. We're going to talk about the website, recommended platform, content layouts, Google trust factors, responsive design. Talk about content, blogging, popular content platforms, repurposing content, and social media, some facts and some timing. We're also going to talk about citations, the importance of them, and some resources. And we're going to talk about reviews, as in customer reviews. So let's dive right in. So the first thing we're going to talk about is your website, and as it relates as your SEO foundation. So everything we're going to talk about in reference to the website will be driving traffic, or generating hits, you could say, and increasing leads from that traffic that you drive to your website. So all good things to help you make more money. So the first thing we want to dive into is a recommended platform for a website, which is WordPress. And if you're building a website from scratch or considering building a website in the future, we recommend WordPress because it's the most commonly used content management, or CMS, platform in the world. And a huge majority of websites are built on WordPress. And the idea of the CMS, content management system, is that after the developer builds your website and presents it to you, you can easily add or edit new content on your own, like pictures, videos, text, graphics, and you don't really have to contact them. So it's going to save you time, it's going to save you money, it's going to enable you to tackle things right away without incurring the big cost of developers. That said, if you don't have a WordPress website, that's okay. Everything we're going to talk about today can still be applied. But if you're going to build a website in the future, we recommend looking at WordPress and asking the developer about building a website on that platform. So the next thing we'll look at is content layouts. And so if you've ever been to an awesome website and you feel really comfortable from that company, from that company's website, you know what a good user experience is. So websites like Zappos or Amazon.com are good examples providing a good user experience. So that's number one, focus on user experience and not search engines. So if you focus too much on winning in search engines, you kind of get away from providing what your users want to look at. So I always say go for the user experience more than trying to rank. Second thing we're going to look at is having individual pages for each product or service. So a lot of websites make the mistake of just lumping all their products and services on one page and having a sentence or two, short descriptions, or if any descriptions on each of them. If you're going to do that, I recommend having one lump page, but also having each page or service, product or service, have its own individual page. This is good for user experience, but it's also good for SEO. So a good example of this is a screenshot on the right side of the page here from Bliss Spa. So what they have on the left is a side menu that has all their services, and then on the right it has a nice visual representation of what services are: massage, face, waxing, laser hair removal, etc. And they have nice visuals there, and you can click all these things to go to individual pages to find more information. They also have some real simple navigation on top of the page: book online, view spa menu, find the Bliss Spa. So this is an example of a website that focuses on user experience, and it's not just all about search engines, but at the same time, they're appealing to the search engines as well. So another thing that you want to do in terms of content is number 3, create more robust pages than your competitors. So by competitors, by robust, I mean the user experience has to be better than what your competitors are doing. So if you're looking to rank for something or get a lot of traction for a particular product or service, Google that product or service locally and see what your competitors are doing, see who's ranking for it, and then look at what they're doing with their pages and then create better content than what they're doing. And we can kind of dive into more what that includes in number 4, which is things like have more relevant text, have more pictures, videos, and reviews whenever possible. Those kind of things will all help you create a better user experience and kind of match up against your competitors better. So another thing we want to look at is Google trust factors. And it's important to have good trust factors on your website because sites that are trustworthy tend to rank better. So one trust factor is number 1, which is easy to find contact information. And that's just kind of a simple user experience thing where you go to a website and you maybe just want to find a phone number or shoot them an email real quick, or maybe just their address. And so I recommend having easy to find contact info like in the top right of your website. This is especially true for mobile users who just want to find a phone number really quick when they navigate your website online. And so the second and third things are a little bit more complicated. You probably need some help as a developer, but you can just ask them to do these kind of things for you, and it'll be real easy. So the first thing we want to do to establish another trust factor is connect your map listing to your Google Places. So first thing you want to do is there's a link on the bottom of the page there, and that's the Google business listing. And so you can click that link back on this webinar when you're ready. You don't have to scramble to write that down right now. But what you do is you go here to this Google link, try to find your business, and then you claim it. So basically just register it to your name. And then after you've done that, have your developer embed that map on your contact page. So this screenshot that you see here is an example of Buckhead Grand Spa, who has claimed their Google listing. So what you see is not just an address of the Buckhead Grand Spa, you actually see the name affiliated with their map listing. So that's a really good thing because people know, and Google knows, that this is now their business. So what you would do is you would embed this map on your website, and that's a trust factor for the search engine that says, oh, hey, look, this map listing that we have in our records also matches with the map listing that's on their website, and we're going to attribute that to them, and that's going to help them rank a little bit better, especially in the local search engines. So the third thing we want to look at is what's called name, address, phone, or NAP, and we're going to give an example of that on the next page from the same spa. So what you can see here in the bottom area, it's a screenshot from the Buckhead Grand Spa, and that's on their footer, a screenshot from their footer, I should say. And so what they have there is the name, the address, and the phone number of their spa in their footer, and the footers appears on every single page of the website. So this is a common SEO practice. And so what you see in the right blue arrow is a screenshot from the Google Places page, and that information is exactly the same. So one thing you want to take away from here is you want to have the local phone number. A lot of companies have 800 numbers, but for the purposes of your Google Places listing and for your footer, I recommend having the local phone number for SEO. You can still use your 800 number on your website if you have one, but in terms of NAP, name, address, phone number, always use your local phone number when you're building these kind of map listings out. Okay, moving on. Responsive design. So responsive design is a website that adapts to all the various screen sizes. So there are desktops, there are tablets, there are cell phones, and there's everything in between. You have mini laptops and some of those bigger cell phones that are coming out now. So the idea of responsive design is to give all those people a really good experience when they get to their website on any device. So back in the day, when the iPhone was invented, people started going online with their cell phones, and all they were finding were websites that were created for the desktop. So if you've ever experienced a website that was created for a desktop and tried to navigate around on your cell phone, you get an idea of how difficult it can be stumbling around on a website that was created for a much larger screen. So what people had to do back then was create different websites for each device. So obviously this is time-consuming and it's expensive. So responsive design is kind of a solution to that problem, where you design one website and it adapts to all the screen sizes that are out there, laptops, tablets, and desktops, and provides the user the best experience possible. So if you're going to build a website in the future, ask your developer about responsive design. If you don't have a responsive design website now, it might be something you want to think of, and we'll talk about more why that is so important with some stats here on the next page. So the first one on the left, just from last year, mobile sales from beauty-related sites grew almost 85% just last year. So a lot of people are using mobile devices to make purchases and to do a lot of research. And so if you look on the right, mobile phones account for more than 17% of global usage, and more specifically North America, over 15% as of last year. So a lot of people are using their mobile devices to find websites, and specifically beauty-related websites. And those numbers on the right apply only to cell phones or smartphones. They exclude tablets. So if you wanted to include tablets in that number, it would probably be a lot higher. So just to recap, here's some stats from IBM on why you need a mobile-friendly website and why responsive design is a good option for that. More people are likely to browse for products or services on smartphones than their tablets. Even though people are browsing on smartphones, are more likely to check out on a tablet, and more online traffic comes from smartphones than tablets. So the bottom line here is you need a mobile-friendly site to grab this traffic, otherwise you're going to be losing out. Okay, next thing we want to talk about is content marketing. And the purpose of content marketing is to help you rank and to make you an authority in your industry. So blogging is one of the most important things that you want to do to brand yourself and drive traffic to your website. And number two, in terms of SEO, if you blog a lot, it attracts what is called long-tail traffic. And long-tail traffic is the opposite of what is short-tail traffic. So words like camera or digital camera, or like spa or salon, a search for something like that is really generic. So the generic searches are short-tail traffic versus long-tail traffic. And if you look at the right in the orange here, far right, a word like, or a search like Sony digital camera, 7.1 megapixel with 3 times optical zoom, is a very specific search. That's a long-tail search. And so as you can see from these numbers in bold here, and the items in bold in the line, conversion rate versus keyword popularity and cost, the long-tail searches have a lot less searches, and they're a lot less popular, they have a lot less cost, but they have a much higher conversion rate. So more leads are actually searching for these kind of words, and they're converting at a higher rate, which means you're getting more money out of these people, versus searches like spa or just massage. You're trying to rank for those things, and they're really expensive because the keywords are so popular, and there's not actually a lot of conversions. They're not converting. These are very generic searches. So a lot of spas and salons are focused on just ranking for really generic keywords, and they shouldn't be. The fact of the matter is they should be focusing on a lot of long-tail traffic, and that's what blogging can do for you. So let's look at an example of what a long-tail blog could look like. So rather than writing a blog on a massage, you could write a blog that compares European, deep tissue, Swedish, and hot stone massages. That would cast a much bigger net and focus on some of that long-tail traffic. Okay, some other popular content are things like email marketing, white papers, and a white paper is an authoritative report or guide that helps readers to understand an issue, solve a problem, or make a decision. E-newsletters, infographics, and if you don't know what an infographic is, there's an example of one on the right here, a screenshot. It's like an information graphic. So that's a pretty cool one of the different types of massages, Swedish, Thai, shiatsu. So that's a really cool thing there. I like those. Video, images, testimonials, how-to guides. Those are all really good things in terms of content that you can put on your website and help solidify that trust factor with your clients and potential clients as well. So a lot of you may be asking, Daniel, okay, I understand that we have to create content and I understand it's important, but it's expensive and it's really time consuming. So I don't have the resources to do that kind of thing. So what I would suggest is to repurpose your content. And so repurposing is kind of demonstrated by this graph here below, where the W in the middle of the circle represents a blog or WordPress website, and all the little outlets are all the places where you can create content, original content in one central location and kind of distribute it out to various places. And so I'll give you some examples of that. But what repurposing does is it compounds the efforts of your SEO across the web. So a really good example of repurposing content would be creating a blog or something about, let's go back a second, I'm sorry. Okay, so let's say you have a goal of endorsing your skincare products or services. Okay, so that's pretty common in the health and beauty industry. You want to endorse your skincare products and services. So everything in terms of content always relates back to some kind of goal. So what you would do potentially is create a how-to guide on getting healthy, vibrant skin. This would be something that would be like 6, 7 pages, very information-packed. And then once you create that, you can repurpose that same content as a blog series. So you could have one blog on healthy eating, another on sun care products, another on exercise for healthy, vibrant skin, another on gadgets, skincare products, and spa services. So those last two, skincare products and services, could all relate back to your offerings, but they also relate back to that how-to guide. And so the other thing you can do is you can create images and share them on Pinterest. Also, you can create tips every day and share those on things like Facebook and Twitter and maybe use some of those same Pinterest pictures. You can create a video of how to get healthy skin on YouTube. And you can also create email marketing chain that go with weekly tips and links back to the original guide. So that's one piece of content that stems all these other pieces of content out of it without you having to create new different things all the time. You just take that same content and would do what's called repurposing it across the web. Okay, another thing we're going to talk about are CTAs, or call to actions, which will help guide your visitors along your sales funnel. So these are just words that you can use to guide people along. So you never want to assume that people know what to do when they get to your website. So that's what CTAs are going to help you do. So some common call to actions are words like call now, order, sign up, email us, book, join, those types of things. So the screenshot on the right is an example from the Standard Hotel in Miami. And they had these nice call to actions. There's 3 really good call to actions that I like that came from their website. The first one up top is book a room. Obviously that applies to the hotel, but it's still a good call to action. Second one is join our mailing list. And it also has links to the social media network there. And then the third one's really generic. It's to contact us. So for all your call to actions, have a goal in mind and relate back to your products or services. So here's another example of a call to action, except this time on social media. So this one's from Health Centered Spine and Wellness. So they create some urgency with the text, time is running out in bold there, and then they have a couple of call to actions, call us today, and then please share, kind of get that word of mouth spread on their social media. And then they have a nice graphic there by White Blitz that provides some more call to actions and has some professionally branded design.
And Daniel, I just want to jump in here and say that if you're not familiar, White Blitz, we offer customized digital design. So if you need a flyer like this customized with whatever type of sale you want, with your logo, with your address, anything that you'd like, you can just let us know, talk to your personal marketing consultant, and we can spit that back out to you in about 48 hours or less, absolutely free. So please do take advantage of this.
Yeah, that's a good point. Thanks, Amanda. I really like the use of personalized branded marketing materials. So those are all things that you can use, kind of like they've done here on Facebook, but also Pinterest, Instagram, all those things. The more you can brand and customize your marketing materials, the better chance you're going to have of your clients identifying with you all the time and knowing things that come from you. So that helps with SEO, but it also helps for marketing in general. So the last call to action I want to bring attention to is this one from Exhale Spa. They have 3 really great call to actions right on their home page of their website. Book a class, book a spa therapy, and new to Exhale. So these are all really simple. They just focus on the 3 main things they want to attract their visitors to. And they do a really good job of it by allowing people to click on one of those 3 things and kind of direct them on that sales funnel. So the only thing that I would change here on the Exhale website is that these 3 call to actions, they don't really contrast with the rest of the website. They're kind of hard to tell that they're actually links. So I would suggest Exhale make those call to actions, those links there, contrast a little bit better. But they are a really good example of call to action on a website. So moving on to social media, we're going to talk about Facebook specifically and how you can get more engagement. And by engagement, we're going to talk about likes, shares, or comments. We don't have enough time to talk about other social media networks, so we're just going to focus on Facebook today. Okay, here's some really good Facebook stats. More than 3/4 of consumers say they interact with brands by reading posts and updates from those brands. Almost 20% say they actually interact with brands, and they get involved by doing things like sharing. And so what you want to take away from those first 2 stats is that a lot of consumers are interacting, but they're not actually getting involved by sharing or commenting or liking. But they are seeing what you're putting out there. So if you're kind of feel like your marketing on Facebook is going out to deaf ears, it's not. You know, if you're getting 20% to actually interact, that's really good. You know, if you're getting 10%, I think that's good too. So I mean, anything you do on Facebook is going to kind of boost that word of mouth. And then looking at number 3, more than half consumers said they're more likely to recommend a brand to a friend after becoming a fan themselves. So that emphasizes kind of that word of mouth, so which is why it's so good to have all your existing clients become members or like you on Facebook. And then looking at number 4, almost 60% of people like brands on Facebook because they're a customer, and almost 60% do so because they want to receive discounts and promotion. So that 4th stat there reveals that most people follow you because they are already your clients or they want a discount. So that's good to know, so that when you're pushing out marketing on your Facebook page, you kind of can identify with who these people are. So just keep in mind that the majority of people that like you on Facebook are likely already your clients, and craft your marketing messages around that with that knowledge. And so we'd like to get into engagement a little bit more specifically. So generally, across the board, we found some research that indicated that most brands have the most engagement early in the morning, right around the end of work, and kind of later at night. But we'd like to get a little more specific with engagement and identify the best times for your brand specifically on your Facebook page. So let's look at how you can do that. So if you have a Facebook business account, or I'm sorry, a Facebook business account, and you should if you don't at this point, you can check the best time to post on Facebook to get the most engagement. So here's how you get there. You log into Facebook, navigate to the business page, click the See Insights in the admin panel, and then click Posts. And so this is a screenshot of that right there, the post section, as you can see circled in the highlighter there. So I know it might be a little bit difficult to see all the text in this screenshot, so I'll go over it with you. The 7 boxes left to right represent the 7 days of the week, so this is a 1-week period, and then the whale shape at the bottom of the page there, at the bottom of that graph, are the times of day. So for this business specifically, looking at the time, around 9 o'clock p.m. is the best time to hit the most customers. That's when the most people are on Facebook, according to the last week of stats. So if I were this brand specifically, I would post probably around 8:45 or 8:50, about 10 minutes before that peak engagement time, to allow my Facebook posts, my Facebook brand posts, to get into their newsfeed. So you can be real methodical about when you post and how you post, and we'll get into that in a second, but this is really revealing information, and I encourage all brands to kind of look at what times are best to post on Facebook and adhere to what the data tells you. And so kind of moving on in that same section there in the admin panel of Facebook, you can scroll down on that same page once you get there. So follow the instructions to get to that last page, and that's how you get to this other page here in Facebook, the admin section. So this is another set of data that's very revealing. So what we can see here is the post types that get the most engagement, and this is an example from that same brand. So on the right arrow there, we see a category for reach and engagement. And what I've done here is I've clicked reach twice to get the post with the most reach to come up to the top. You might have to play with it a little bit to get that the bigger number up to the top. And so ideally, you want to look at which post got the most reach, or you can look at which post got the most engagement, and then what you're going to want to do is see what kind of post type or what you did and why it was so effective. So then you look at this, what we have here, the second blue arrow, down arrow to the left, and we look at our post types. So this one's kind of funny because the most popular post that week was about a fire in a spot in a sauna. Nobody was hurt, but it's interesting that that was the most effective post type. But you can look at the other kind of post types like links, photos, status updates, videos. Those are all different kind of post types, and you want to look at which ones are the best. And so once you determine which post types are the best and which get the most reach or get the most engagement, you want to repeat that process. And if you find that other things don't work as well for you, you kind of want to diminish those processes. So now we want to move on to citations. And citations are basically just business listings around the web or mentions of a company around the web. So if you've ever been to a site like Yelp, yellowpages.com, that's the web, all these sites in that box there on this page, you've probably seen business listings there, and those are just what are called citations. So these are really important for business for a number of reasons. For one, they help brands list their businesses on highly trafficked websites, and those websites can direct traffic to your website. So a site like Yelp, there's a lot of searches on there for health, for beauty, for spas, and salons. So you can get traffic from the Yelp website. So that's a good thing, right? I mean, all the outlets that can refer traffic to your website, the more outlets, the better. So they're also a trust signal for search engines. So we talked about NAP, or name, address, phone number, before. So each citation that you build has the name, address, and phone number listed, and that will give credibility to your website. It can actually help you to rank better. Another thing that's good about citations, they can allow you to claim listings across the web so your competitors cannot. Another reason, citations can often be wrong. Some of these citation sites will just kind of scrape data from the web, and they'll get the phone number wrong. They might get the business name wrong. They might have your address wrong. So you want to go to these citation sites and you want to confirm that they are in fact right, so that the people are actually calling your most up-to-date phone number. Or maybe you move locations and you just want to make sure all these places are up-to-date all the time. So, you know, citations can have incorrect data, and you're going to want to claim them on your own to make sure it's all accurate. The final thing is citations are also a foundational review strategy, which we'll get into shortly. So a question you may have is, how do I create a citation? All you do is you visit some of these citation websites, and on the next page, we're going to give you the resource to get some good citation websites, and you search for your business. If it's listed there, you simply claim it and then fill out all this information. If your business is not listed, then you start a business listing and you register for the site. It's fairly simple. So here are some really good free citation resources. I would recommend that you go to getlisted.org. This is a really free, great site that provides a list of a lot of citation resources that you can claim your site on. And GetListed also provides best citation sources by city. So kind of find your city there and list your site on those citations. And then it also has best U.S. citations by category. So you would obviously want to look for the beauty category, I think, would apply, and list your business there. But you can also pay for citation listings because they do take time on sites like Axiom, InfoGroup, and Factual. In my opinion, and most SEOs agree, that submitting your site to paid services is not as good as manually building citations. But for the busy business owner, building manual citations can take a long time. So it's really up to you. I mean, a site like Axiom, InfoGroup, those things can get $500 a year, $1,000 a year, so they're fairly expensive, but they're very time effective. So other thing you can do is you can ask your SEO to build citations for you if they offer that service, or if you want, Digital Elevator, my company, also offers those services. So moving on to reviews, last thing we're going to talk about, importance, and we're talking about customer reviews. So some top review sites that you want to try to get a lot of reviews listed. I'd say shoot for 5 or 10 reviews for each of these sites. Sites like Google Reviews, Yelp, Yahoo Listings, Insider Pages, City Search, BBB's, Better Business Bureau, Facebook, and you can put reviews on your website. And so there's 2 stats there, and those stats basically emphasize that after people go to their friends and try to get that word of mouth referral to a spa salon, and maybe their friends don't know or they can't recommend anything, they're going to go online and they're going to look at review sites. And that's how they're going to base their decision on using you. If you have a lot of good reviews on all these sites, you're going to look more credible and people are going to use you. The other thing is reviews are really good for SEO, so it pays to build your reviews up and try to push people towards a review site to leave reviews for you. So that is the end of the presentation. You can find this. I believe we're going to be putting this presentation, make it available online on the whiteblitz.com website, probably in that marketing resources section, and there's some really good resources there that you can take a look at on White Blitz. So we're going to open up the Q&A now and see what questions you have, and we can answer them. And hopefully you can do all this stuff to help you drive more sales to your website. Thanks for your time, guys.
Okay. All right, Daniel, so we have a few questions. Tim in Georgia wants to know, do I need to continually do SEO with the company, or will it stop? If he completely stops, will he not be relevant anymore?
Okay. Thanks for the question, Tim. That depends. I mean, I've done SEO with clients in really competitive industries where if you get on top of rankings, you can actually sustain it for a really long time. So it's kind of a yes and no. But I have seen instances where in really competitive industries, if you stop doing SEO, you will become irrelevant because your competitors are going to try to rank for those things that you're ranking for. And Google likes freshness. So if you're not producing fresh content or doing fresh SEO campaigning, then you can be irrelevant. So it really just depends how competitive your individual market is locally.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Dan. And our next question comes from Adam. Adam wants to know, what is a reasonable amount to pay per month, and what results should he expect?
Okay, another good question. It depends. It varies. SEO costs vary by location and by country, really. But I mean, I guess for the sake of this, everybody would probably be finding an SEO locally in North America. On average, SEOs charge up to about $100 per hour, but that's more of a kind of a consultation type thing. You can probably get something of a decent local SEO package around that $500 range, and that's fairly entry level. I'd say a more robust, really competitive SEO campaign would be in that $1,000 to $1,500 range if you're trying to compete locally. If you have multiple locations, or maybe you're a bigger chain, maybe like, let's say like the Ritz-Carlton has a couple spas, you're probably going to look more towards $2,500, $3,000 a month. And what you expect is, in a return on your investment. I think you have to hire an SEO company that can prove its worth, because, I mean, if you're paying $1 and not getting anything back, you're paying too much. So you want to ask your SEO about the return on investment, and, that's kind of a conversation where you dissect how many leads you need and how, to close sales so that you can justify the cost for your SEO. Obviously, your SEO can't be more expensive than the cost of the sales that you generate. So you have to kind of crunch the numbers there and try to figure out your cost per acquisition, those kind of things, and kind of get scientific about it. But, really, you just want to make the money back that you're spending on your marketing.
Okay. Thank you, Dan. Julie writes, what can I do to make my spa different?
Okay. I mean, that depends. SEO does not and is not, I would not say, the end-all, be-all in terms of marketing, because Google changes and things happen in the search engines. So I wouldn't put all my eggs in one basket in terms of marketing. But, a spa salon has to be different. What I would do in just traditional marketing sense is look at what your competitors are doing and try to do something different or offer something unique, or kind of give them that wow factor to kind of get those word-of-mouth referrals funneling. So, I mean, if you just do everything that everybody expects you to do, you're doing everything else everybody else is doing. So meeting expectations is not good enough in marketing. You have to exceed expectations, so you have to brainstorm creative ways that you can do that, or offer creative products. I know a lot of spas are taking advantage of the White Blitz teeth whitening. That's not something that every spa offers. but it is something that people who are looking to look better I can identify with, and that's kind of a value add. That's a good example of a value add that a spot can use to kind of segment themselves, add a different service or product that segments them from what everybody else is doing.
Very good. Okay, and last question, Sana writes, how long does it take to get rankings?
That's a good question. That really depends on how competitive your area is, your local area, as well as how aggressive you are with your SEO campaign. SEO and traditional marketing can kind of go hand in hand in terms of thinking of it like, okay, you know, I can spend $10 on marketing, but how far is that going to get me? You know, it's like if you spend $2,000 on marketing, you're probably going to reach a lot more people, which means you might get a lot more leads in the door. So traditionally in SEO, I'd say I wouldn't expect any results in fewer than 3 months, and that's with a fairly aggressive campaign. If you're kind of in that low range, maybe $500 a month SEO campaign, it'll probably take around 6 months to start seeing some results. I mean, you can see it generally an increase of traffic in the first month, but to start generating a lot more leads and start ranking across the board, it's going to take 6 months to a year sometimes. But, I mean, you should be able to have your SEO or internet marketing guy prove to you what's working, and you should establish what your expectations are to start. So that's the conversation you should definitely have with your SEO or marketing guy. You can say, okay, this is what I'm basing my happiness upon. Like, this is what I'd like to see, you know, because what your SEO measures success by and what you measure success by might be two different things. So that's definitely a conversation that I recommend having in the beginning of the contract.
Absolutely. That was a wonderful tip. I don't think that we have any more questions. Nothing more is coming in, so we can go ahead and finish this webinar and ask that you all stay tuned to your email boxes and look out for the next webinar. And do not forget that if you'd like a free consultation on SEO or your website, please contact Daniel. He can be reached at dan@thedigitalelevator.com. And also, if you'd like to talk about anything else marketing that we've discussed today, please feel free to contact your personal marketing consultant. Have a good day.